You gotta think about it. Think about it.
I use mine to heat up pizza. I heat up tomato pizzas. I heat up those frozen pizzas.
If you're using your microwave for the same old thing, take a look at Microwave Know-How. Each week, step-by-step pictures give you the know-how to get more from your microwave. In week 1, the basic techniques: shielding, turning, covering. How to cook perfect vegetables and give them that finishing touch. And special recipes like chocolate ice cream cake and wine-poached haddock. Get the know-how and soon you'll be
Jamming, roasting, pasta making, lemon pudding, baking, caking.
All it takes is know-how from Microwave Know-How.
Hello guys and girls, and welcome back, or welcome if it's your first listen, to Retro Edcast. Cheers for stopping by. We're going to be going through the usual random set of topics that's been defined today through the roll of a die, and a little bit driven by what I've been up to in the last week. Very quick update on Foxgate. What's the saying? Don't crap on your doorstep, but that is exactly what the little buggers are doing. I'll be honest, I'm starting to feel a little bit of sympathy for those farmers I used to think were horrible in Fantastic Mr. Fox. I think I'm kind of siding with them, and keen to take out these little blighters that are doing their crap sticks on my doorstep. So been on Amazon, but looking at an array of lasers, sensors, high-pitched emitting thingamajigs that supposedly confuse and annoy and frustrate these foxes and kind of move them on to pastures new, but it could literally just be an empty bit of plastic for all I know. But I'll keep working at it. We'll see how we do. Podcast itself, I say this is episode 5. Managed through the help and the guidance of a fantastic YouTuber, Richard Tappenden. So go and check out his channel. I'll leave links below. Go and check out his YouTube channel. Yeah, I always thought there was a cost associated with anything, but it would appear that's not the case. And I've set up like a Spotify podcast account. I've managed to link that to an Apple podcast account. There's some kind of, I don't know what it stands for, an RSS link between the two, and I'm not particularly technical, but yeah, I've managed to get it all up and running with relative ease. I can upload to one place and it appears on t'other, and I've got to say the Spotify analytics engine is pretty decent. It's a bit of a, I'd say, more basic version to say like YouTube Studio for anyone that uses that. It's very much maybe a simplified version, but for all intents and purposes it does exactly what it needs to, and perhaps a little bit more. So chuffed with that. So thank you, Richard, for your guidance. I know you commented on perhaps the first podcast and just said, look, you can do this and this, which kind of inspired and prompted me to get stuck in. So what are we going to be talking about today? Vinyl. Vinny Vinyl has made a reappearance into the collection. We're going to do a retro shout out for a particularly amazing cause, so stick around for that. I finally got round to seeing Boy and the Heron, so the latest offering from Studio Ghibli, so a few words will be said on that one. And kind of trudging my way through, metaphorically and literally, through Silent Hill 2, the remake. So again, a few words on that, and that'll probably do us. I don't want it being too Lord of the Ringsy, otherwise we're having fewer listeners than we do at the moment. So on the record front, the Vinny Vinyl, kind of prompted by a bit of a bittersweet occasion last weekend. I was going through the record collection of a great mate of mine who unfortunately died fairly quick, about 4 years ago, and obviously remain fantastic friends with his wife and his son, and kind of see them fairly regularly. And for some time his wife had been saying, look, I want to move on certain things, including his record collection. He's got pretty pucker record collection, and really into his music. We had a lot of common tastes, and the rest of it. So, and I knew it'd be too much to kind of for me to take on, and it would have been a bit bloody cheeky as well. So there was a few records that had kind of sentimental value, some groups and bands that we'd seen together. So I said, look, I'd love to have these particular ones, and then I said, I'm not just gonna, I'll buy them off you, and she kind of refused. So in the end, I donated to a charity that's helped them out for what I thought was the rough cost of these records. And the records themselves, I'm not going to kind of dissect it too much, but there was AC/DC, there was some U2 stuff in there. Simple Minds, he loved Simple Minds. I've got to say, I do enjoy them too. A couple of bands we saw together. First one, Bon Jovi, that we saw a few times, and I'll be honest, I kind of at a younger age probably dismissed them as a bit too kind of cheese rock, but I've kind of grown to love them. And even to this day, I'll listen to their kind of latest offerings. They're not as good as the early stuff, but my friend had a real a solid collection of the early records. Typically, their kind of first issue from when they were released. So, and then the other band which I've seen with them, Guns N' Roses, and some of their records were within the mix. One of them in particular, quick shout out to Appetite for Destruction. So he did have the very, very first copy of that album, and I'd forgotten, but the first copy, it had some booby action on the front, albeit just a bit of a kind of comic art. So it was released, and I think a few places obviously didn't want to stock it because of the boobage, and it was pulled, and then they re-released it into probably the album cover that people are more familiar with today. But this original one he had, and it's like bloody hell. So that's now part of my collection, and kind of and cherished. But the biggest conundrum of all of this is that I'd had kind of a separate unit that I'd moved on a while ago. I then had a standalone record player, one fairly cheap and cheerful, which you can, it's got the built-in speaker and all that malarkey. And I think if you want to get fancy, you can probably plug some wires in and then copy your records to MP3. It had bits like that, but the needle itself and the quality of the sound was a bit so-so. And would I put that needle on some prized records? No, I wouldn't have done. So I moved that on a little while ago. So essentially I had no way to play any of these records. So always seeking a new rabbit hole. Scoured the internet, was looking around, and found pretty cool one by Audio Technica. Found a kind of a place where I thought, okay, it can sit in got a bit of kind of a kitchen diner thing on the go, where a lot of them are kind of gaming, and got a big bookshelf with loads of retro bits on there. If you've seen my YouTube channel, then a few of my videos I'll do it. I'll film them from down there, and in kind of room tours as well. It will be it's quite often featured, so I kind of knew where things were going to go. And because I live in the land of wires, I thought, what I could really do without more and more wires. So I found this Audio Technica one with Bluetooth, syncs up nicely to the amplifier. I say nicely, the first time I had to literally get them a hugging and a kissing. I had to get the record player right next to the amp, and then it connected. For whatever reason, it wasn't having it before, and I was getting a bit pissed with it. I was like, what's going on with this? And then for whatever reason, I was like, look, I'm just going to bring them closer. Maybe it wasn't a massive distance, and then it connected. And then the irony is now it has connected, I can pretty much put it anywhere in that room, and it will pick up as soon as I plug them both on. Ping, and they connect, and the sound is probably, for the purists out there, probably say, but you need the wired connection in order to really get that perfect sound, and I'm sure you're absolutely right. But for me, it's a nice balance of that, just kind of that practicality. It's a good sound. It's far better than the tinny standalone record player that I had, and it looks the dog's bees. It looks really nice, this thing. So now I've got these records. and it's the rabbit hole. Another rabbit hole is kind of emerging, and the conundrum now is, okay, do I get some further records? And I'm saying that like I haven't got any further records, and I'd be lying so if I hadn't, because I actually have bought 3. So what did I pick up? So I picked up Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd. So I've got these on, this is the issue, I've got these on CD already. I've got Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd, Portishead, Dummy. I don't know how well they are known outside of the UK waters, but a bit of a trip hop band from the 90s, but some absolutely solid tunes, an extraordinary album, like an amazing album. And Air's Moon Safari, French band. Love that. And I thought, right, I'll get those. But already I'm like, should I get some additional ones? But I really feel awkward about, double dipping. And I haven't long, resurrected the CD collection. So I now in my mind need to work out, okay, what am I going to get for vinyl? Vinyl, what am I going to get CD? Vinyl is actually, it's more accessible now, particularly in terms of new artists releasing albums. It's quite expensive, but my main love, I don't listen to much. Sound like a friggin' dinosaur. I don't listen to much new stuff. I mainly go back to the old stuff. I'm a bit more tolerant with gaming. So I'm about to talk about Silent Hill 2, PS5, obviously modern gaming, but modern music it does not really do it for me. So I'm almost like, don't really want to be spending loads of money on records unless perhaps I haven't got them on CD, or they're truly, my top 20, albums, or I need to come up with that kind of methodology for what I choose. And perhaps it's a bit of a retro dilemma, so I'll play the jingle if I can find it now.
Retro dilemma. No. Retro dilemma. No.
Look at me.
But if you have any advice on what the hell I should do, am I a lunatic? Have I got enough space? No. Lunatic advanced status is an obvious yes, but should I be collecting, and how can I differentiate, to use a long word that I cannot spell, a longish word, between what I buy on CD versus what I get on vinyl versus what I perhaps stream. It's hardly a significant conundrum, is it? But let me know your thoughts.
I need a computer, but which one? They're not cheap, and suppose I wanted to change it later. Radio rentals. So I could give it back in a year's time, or swap it for the latest model. Why wait?
I don't know why this is the case, but whenever I pre-order a film, I seem to have like one hell of a long wait. A couple of examples. One of them, Godzilla -1. So I missed that at the cinema. More me being probably a lazy ass and just not actually getting out to watch it. But I made a couple of times. I made good intentions, but got distracted by other things. But never quite made it out to see that. And thought, when is it going to appear on the likes of Amazon? When I'm going to be like to pre-order it. And then it appeared on Netflix. I thought, okay, that's cool. I do this crop rotation thing with streaming services, and I'd actually was just switching off the Disney, switching on Netflix. I managed to watch that, but it's a frigging good film. It really is. I don't know how many of you guys and girls have seen it, but it is amazing. It's well worth watching. A fantastic Godzilla film, and I just knew that I would love to have the physical version of it. And it appeared a little bit out of the blue as a pre-order probably a couple of weeks ago on a couple of places. One of them was, I don't think I've seen it on, at the time it wasn't out on Amazon, maybe it is now. It was HMV, and it was another site, a bit of a lesser known one that I can't even bloody remember what it was called. But HMV, as soon as it got released, literally within an hour or so, people were making a lot of noise on Reddit and other, I don't know what you call them, kind of conversational sites that people had literally just jumped in and just bought them up, and already on the likes of eBay was starting to post them at inflated blooming values, absolute arses. So I missed this. Was for the normal version, and then there was a slightly, I say, special edition few extra bits in there for a bit more money. For the time being, I'll be honest, I bit the bullet and I've just gone for the more expensive one just because it was the only one that was accessible. I may have a look when I'm done here to see whether or not on Amazon they've got anything, or HMV have actually are now showing it again for a normal release. But it just felt like the scalpers have got to it, so it's just bloody ridiculous and madness. So anyway, that's that. I'm going a bit of a segue, but kind of reeling it back in a little bit. The other one I've had a long wait for, but I've eventually got my hands on it, was The Boy and the Heron. So Studio Ghibli offering one that, again, it feels like it was out in the cinema a long time ago. A lot of a narrower release, certainly in my neck of the woods, than Godzilla. You know, it wasn't as, I guess, probably as commercially viable to them to put it into, to every blooming theatre. So I say theatre, cinema. So yeah, I think they picked and chose. So I missed that, pre-ordered it, and literally got my hands on it fairly recently, and Netflix have got the rights for it, so they put it out. So I could have saved a bit of money and watched it on Netflix. But that said, it's a nice one to have in the collection. I've got quite a few other Studio Ghibli films. I got very kindly Ali 16 Bits and Bobs. He gifted me a few crumbs a couple of years ago, and I already had a semi-decent collection. So now I'm not far off having them all. Not quite a full set, but I've got most of them. So it's a good one to get in there. And it is, it's a long wait, but a worthwhile wait itself. The film itself, it's set around the Pacific War. The main character, it's kind of little boy. His mother dies, so the boy moves to the country, goes out there with his dad. They're both living with his aunt, and you just know, it being a Studio Ghibli film, it's not going to have a conventional plot, and there's going to be different worlds that you're immersed in, eccentric characters, and everything in between. And it is very much that. It's a really powerful watch. It's probably one way to describe it, and I think folk could interpret the film and the plot and the themes in multiple ways, and perhaps that's just a way that those, particularly within that region, those types of films push out. I think I don't want to get too territorial, but the Western or traditional plot line approach is often more of a straightforward one, where not always, but a lot of answers are typically given, and the plot line is by the end of it and the credits roll, what's what. And it's not the case, particularly with this film. But yeah, definitely a powerful watch. I really recommend it. To me, I'm not going to do I don't want to spoil any of the plot. To me, it was my interpretation, in case anyone has seen it or is about to see it, is it's best not to rewind or try to attempt to change events in life. Sometimes it's just best to accept things, good and bad, for what they are, and move on. That was my take in it. I could be woefully wrong. I'm really not sure, but it was amazing. It was an amazing thing to watch. I think I don't know if it was all hand drawn. Perhaps it was. Don't quote me on that, but it just looked exceptional. The soundtrack. If I think you can buy it, but maybe it's import only at the moment. It's silly money. It's great, but it's not worth spending the amount of money that I've seen it go for. But again, I think you probably stream it or cheekily get it off YouTube. I'm sure you can stream and listen to it that way. Not that I'm encouraging any wrongdoing, but the soundtrack is brilliant. Very quite simple, a few little strings, but predominantly a nice kind of piano score. And I'm not into my classical stuff, but it just works so well. Really, really well. So if anyone's a bit on the fence about seeing it, I'd say give it a shot. If you've got Netflix and you're on the fence, and there's no reason why you shouldn't give it a shot for I think it's a couple of hours, which goes quite quick. There's a lot going on, but really enjoyable film. So yeah, The Boy and the Heron. And in terms of video gaming, the last few days I've been getting really stuck into Silent Hill 2, the remake. Don't shoot me. Don't punch me, don't beat me too hard. But I didn't play the original. I just never got around to giving it a shot. So I don't, arguably I don't have much of a baseline to compare this one too versus the other, unlike, you know, Resident Evil 4. I had that originally on the GameCube. So when the remake came out, it was, you know, there was some good comparisons to be had. Not with this one, so I'm playing it very, very fresh. And I think I'm about 6 hours in. A couple more hours into it, you know, last night as and when I can. And absolutely loving it. It's got real, obviously, you know, creepiness to it. I've kept purposely away from the, you know, the plot line, so everything still is very much a mystery, and probably at the end of the game, when I get there, it's still going to be a mystery. It sounds like it might be a bit of a Boy and the Heron affair. We'll see. But yeah, it's good. It carries that creepiness, even adjusting, you know, the brightness settings. It's quite cleverly done. I was playing it. It was one day I was playing it, and it was fairly, like, you know, light outside, light inside, and I couldn't quite work out what was going on the screen, and I adjusted the, you know, the brightness, and it just made very little difference in terms of it. Just the screen pretty much went blooming white, and then you can't see anything what's going on. You're a bit too dark, and it was just, I think it's purposely done like that just to anyways, what I think purposely done like that just to kind of just keep that mysterious, you know, vibe to it, and just, you know, keep the jumpy bits jumpy and not allow you to be a wuss basically. So I had to shut the curtains. We've got little dividers in the lounge where the PS5 set up between the rooms. We get loads of light that comes from the back, so I had to shut that as well. So I'm literally playing this game middle of the day, in the dark, and incredible. I'm come across a few like enemies, you know, these horrible little mannequin things that seem to be the jumpiest things at the moment. I've had my first encounter with Pyramid Head. I mean, hidden in the closet, looking out as he's doing bad stuff or dragging something away, and so I know, because it's part of the lore, I know I'm going to be fighting him in at some point. So I'll be seeing Pyramid Head again. But it is really, really good. I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but I'll see it through and I'll report a little bit more on the next one.
It's a retro shout out.
I want to give an almighty retro shout out to Gordon, the fantastic Gib84 Gaming. It's on the 2nd of November. Get it in your calendars, your diaries, etc. However you log your events. But he's going to be doing on that day a 24-hour gaming stream. Gordon's going to be accompanied by a collective of YouTube titans. They're actually called the TURNBERRY Titans. And I'm sure it's going to be lots of fun. There's going to be lots of gaming. A raffle, I do believe, with some awesome stuff that you can win off the back of that. Most importantly, he's raising money for the fantastic Glasgow Children's Hospital charity, a superb cause. So yeah, get behind it if you can. Head over to his channel. I'll leave details below. Give him a sub. Give Gordon a sub if you haven't done so already. And I guess above all, watch the event itself. Details in the description. But keep the 2nd of November free for the 24-hour gaming stream. And as always, hit me up in the comments if you'd like to chuck in a silly advert. Doesn't have to be high fidelity. Doesn't have to be well edited. None of this stuff I do is. So anything that is shared with me will arguably be 10 times better. But if you want to chuck in a silly advert or contribute perhaps by sending in a segment, shout out, send in your retro dilemmas or whatever, please do so. And if you're not a million miles away, if you're within this galaxy, then I guess the least I can do is send you a Retro Ed badge or a Bootleg John one. Depends what's on the shelves. It's probably about all I can offer. But get involved, people, if you've got the time. And I think that leaves it for today. I'll be back very soon. Cheers for the support. Like I say, there's different ways to listen to this one. If Spotify is your thing over YouTube for podcasts, then go and fill your boots over there. But regardless of where you're listening from, as always, we'd really appreciate just a comment and a hello. Always good to have the banter thereafter. So thanks very much, and over to Bootleg John for the somber outro. Cheers.
Do not forget to dislike and unsubscribe and all that uncool stuff. And by the way, the YouTube algorithm can go and kiss my old sprayed ass.